A long, long time ago, high in the misty mountains, there was a tiny village wrapped in clouds. In that village lived a woodcutter and his wife, and on one stormy night their little daughter was born. But when the midwife placed the baby in the mother's arms, everyone fell silent. The child's eyes were closed, and they would never open. She was born completely blind. The villagers shook their heads. "What a tragedy," they whispered. "A cursed child." Some even told the parents to leave her in the forest so the gods could take her back. But the mother held her baby tight and said, "This child is light itself. I feel it in her heartbeat." They named her Mira, which means light. Little Mira grew up in darkness, but never once did she cry about it. She learned the village by sound and touch. She knew the creak of Uncle Ramu's gate, the sweet smell of Auntie Lakshmi's jasmine flowers, the heavy footsteps of the bully boys, and she remembered every single voice. When someone lied, she heard the tremble. When someone was sad, she felt it in the air. She greeted everyone by name before they even spoke. Children laughed at her. "How will you ever marry? How will you work? You are useless." Mira only smiled and said, "My eyes may not see the world, but my heart sees people, and that is enough." Years rolled by like mountain mist. Mira became a young girl with long black hair and the gentlest voice anyone had ever heard. She helped her old father carry wood. She sang to her tired mother, and every evening she sat on the same rock, listening to the wind tell her stories. Then came the summer that no one would ever forget. The sun burned like fire. The forest turned dry as paper. One afternoon, a tiny spark from a traveler's forgotten campfire jumped into the trees. Within minutes, the entire mountain was roaring with flames. Fire raced down toward the village, faster than horses could run. Thick black smoke swallowed the sky. People screamed, grabbed children, and ran blindly. Strong young men who could see perfectly stumbled and fell, coughing, lost in their own streets. The only path to safety was a narrow, hidden trail down the cliff, a trail no one could find in the smoke. The village was doomed. Mothers clutched their babies and cried. Fathers shouted names that were swallowed by the roar of the flames. And then, a calm voice rose above the chaos, a voice like cool water in hell. "Everyone, hold hands, follow me." It was Mira, the blind girl. People thought she was mad. "How can you lead us? You can't even see." But there was no time to argue. One by one, trembling hands reached for hers. Mira stepped forward, straight into the smoke and heat. She did not hesitate. She walked as if the mountain was whispering directions only she could hear. She remembered the sound the wind made when it passed through the safe trail. She felt the cool air rising from the valley below. She smelled the wet moss that grew only on the escape path. And she led them 237 souls, old people, crying babies, strong men now weak with fear, all holding on to the blind girl who walked like an angel through fire. One by one they reached the river at the bottom. Safe. Behind them, their village burned to ash. When the last person crossed, Mira collapsed. Her feet burned, her face black with soot. The villagers fell at her feet, sobbing. "You saved us." "How? How?" an old woman cried. "We have eyes, but we were the blind ones." Mira opened her smoke-stung face and smiled the same gentle smile she always had. She touched their cheeks one by one and whispered, "I may be blind in my eyes, but I can see your hearts. I heard your fear turn into trust when you held my hand. That trust became my light. And love. Love is the only light that fire can never destroy." They built a new village lower in the valley. In the center, they placed a beautiful stone statue, not of a king or a warrior, but of a young girl with her eyes closed and her hands stretched out, guiding. Under it they carved these words, "Some people see with their eyes. Mira taught us to see with our souls." And whenever children asked who was the greatest person who ever lived here, the elders would point to the statue and say, "The one who was blind, yet showed us the way home. Never forget, My friend, real vision has nothing to do with eyes. It lives right here, in a heart full of love.